Hello, hello. So we have month 4 confessions for remote year. Group is Amani. And the city I was in was Condesa in Mexico City. So, Mexico City brought a lush, noisy completion to my time in Latin America. It allowed me to experience truth, heartache, and abundance. Because of my time in Mexico City, I am now given an opportunity to wake up, set new goals, honor myself, and hopefully create a different environment and atmosphere which I can thrive in. So I can show up better, and so I can be better. All right, so the full reading, here we go. It's day 2 of being in Hanoi, a quiet sunrise in the office by myself. Mexico City was an unexpected treat that after some reflection and a few hours of Asia, I wish it would have been a 4-week experience instead of 5. My biggest appreciation was the lush landscape. I had no idea that Mexico had such a wide variety of plants, and the weather was also more manageable than in Colombia. Not as many dirty outfits, of course. Aside from the landscape and the weather, I would say the other thing that I'm grateful for was an eye-opening, bittersweet visit from who was my partner before I came on remote year, or remote year started. Okay. Her visit was also my biggest takeaway. The takeaway of an honest check-in on who I am being, and the truth of the matter and situation in which I'm living in. That being that I'm not thriving in this environment as an empathetic introvert, a stand for love and well-being, and as a business, I'm not creating that. So now I get to reflect on the truth of that and connect, and to hopefully course correct into creating something better, something different. As for the food, Mexico City was okay. At this point, I was over Mexican food, and to be honest, it was the least variety providing country in which we had. There were not a lot of varieties. However, my favorite food from Mexico City was the street food, and it was the picante torta. So a torta is a sandwich that's like grilled or toasted, and then it's pork with onion, tomato, peppers within it. Aside from the torta, cochinita was a pork that is cooked in a leaf under the ground over fire with all these spices, and it's super juicy and tender, flavorful. I had far too many tacos of that kind, but otherwise the torta came in first for me. Because my biggest takeaway was so personal, the belief word changed wasn't really changed. Instead, it was put my beliefs, like what I was thinking, was put under a spotlight to be inspected. There was a lot of questioning towards what was actually true versus what I was creating and convincing myself to be operating under. An example being that I was okay, that remote year was temporary, and that the experience itself would get better. But at what cost, right? Like having her visit, having these things brought to my attention, I got to then think, okay, well, at what cost? And was that really true? in addition to what I was thinking or saying to create the struggle and disconnect. Like, how was I creating that where I am an empathetic introvert in a group setting, in a situation which I don't thrive in? What's true versus not true? And how am I creating any and all of this? What was the intention of my optimism and lack of action taking and creating a situation which I do thrive in, right? Like, how was I contributing into not being able to become more in control and create an environment which I thrived in? As for my roomie situation, I was very blessed with the two people who were really respectful and honored my OCD tendencies, where I don't feel like I learned as much about them as I did in the past months. What I did learn about them, the little that I did learn, was really, really good. And it was something that I could relate to. One of the things that I appreciate most is where I didn't feel as close or connected to them. At the end of the day, when there was an emotional time frame for one of us, where there was flu-like symptoms or homesickness, the connection and the support in which we provided each other was pretty admirable. And that just like goes to show that you don't have to truly know someone in order to be able to be there for them and to show up for them. So that was really nice. For the group dynamic, it continues to change, right? We're in month 4. This is where it's getting hot, heavy. You have your really exclusive people who are like PB&J and like going for it. But then you also have the people that are leaving the clickiness to like experience other people that maybe are more appropriate for them. And so that's kind of cool to see. My most special moments in Mexico City included a night at the jazz bar, a day in nature, walking in the parks, a week, like the weekend days as a local, going to like the book festival, watching the parades, eating the street food, just like being in the family-esque environment within the culture on weekends. It's pretty special. And then obviously dancing into the morning at a gay bar. It was the first time I had danced while on remote year, and reminded me why I should do it more, because I get a lot of fulfillment out of it. In the upcoming month, I'd like to focus on creating a new norm of an environment which I thrive in, physically, mentally, and emotionally, as well as my vulnerability towards myself and others, people in the States, as well as people in the group. People I'd like to get to know more this month are Sean and Christina. I'm most excited about seeing the temples, learning about the culture, and embracing the chaos. I'm told that if I can deal with the noise and busyness of Hanoi, I will be able to survive all other Asian countries. Another thing I'm also looking forward to is taking a grab bike scooter or a motorbike. In the States or in other countries, you have Uber. Here in Hanoi, you have Grab, and you can choose to do like a motorbike, a car, or a van. I'm definitely doing a motorbike. And that's it. That's the Mexico City completion. It was a personal month, I'm not gonna lie. And it really forced me to check in and understand that like life gets so busy, you guys. It gets so busy. But at the end of the day, you have a choice of who you're being, how you're reacting, and what you are contributing your time, energy, and mindset towards. And you don't have, and just the power of checking in with what are you telling yourself, and is it proactive, reactive, is it truth, or is it convincing? And get to the intention and the underneath of like why that's existing. And not necessarily saying that you can control it, but you do have a choice. And so like my choice is am I going to choose to stay on remote year and continue on? Or what can I do in the now to create a different situation and look at my options and alternatives and how, who, or what can I use to create that thriving environment for me as a person, for my business as a practice, and for my group, my community. Because I want to show up. I do. It's who I am. And so I want you to check in and maybe sit with that now or later this week and evaluate who you're being and the environment. What about your environment is working right now? What's not? When it comes time to truth, vulnerability, and transparency, what's in alignment? What's not? And how can you create, or what can you do to create a space in which you thrive and can be more vulnerable, transparent, and have a situation in which you thrive in?